What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today we are going to continue to update you on the price action with MYRO. Piggybacking off of the last video when I made a few projections of what I expected to see happen based on the information that the chart was giving us. And we are going to cover that here. But first, I must remind all of the lumpheads out there that this is absolutely not financial advice. Okay? Because there are so many low IQ people that tend to jump on and want absolute information, answers that's absolutely correct, looking for people that hold a crystal ball so they can get rich overnight just from watching YouTube videos. And this is not for you. We are all in this together. This is risky business and nothing is absolute. And I don't claim to have the ability to predict the future. All I'm doing is the best that I can in looking at the chart and the information that it presents. And we're going to start off on the 4-hour chart, and then we're going to look at the 1-day chart. And again, we're going to review what we discussed last time and what I told you that I expected to see happening. And this will be especially good for all of those folks out there that, you know how they are. They're always yammering at the mouth saying, technical analysis doesn't work. Okay. All right, I had to get a troll in there. That I have to do that. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just how I am. Some people don't think technical analysis works, and that's fine. And we don't even have to call it that. Just call it looking at the chart. Some people look at the chart and just get a feeling for what they see. And folks like me, I'm okay with calling it technical analysis because these charts are based on human behavior. And if you don't believe that human behavior tracking is a science, then I challenge you to look up the history and the background of the Fibonacci sequence. That's your homework assignment for all of the naysayers. But for the rest of us, we're just going to go ahead and look at this information on the chart and see if we can make an educated guess about what the next move is going to be. In the last video, I told you that I got my small little bag. I got 1,000 at 10 cents because I said it looked like it was very near a reversal point and it was going to get to a key little intermediary level, which we're going to see on the 1-day chart, and then it's going to bounce up, which it did. And then notice where, after it bounced up, notice where the rejection comes. It's right there at 2 critical lines. The first would be the 200 EMA line based on this 4-hour chart. Okay, that's your blue line right there. And the second is the baseline of this support and resistance box, this rectangle that has the green area here. And so we see that after we hit this first critical point where I said I'm buying right now because 10 cents is probably going to be a pivot, and it was. And then we bumped our heads here at this next critical point, bouncing off the 200 EMA and the support of this zone number 1. And then what I said was, if we got rejected at that point, then we're probably going to look downstairs and find zone number 2, where we have another green box. Here is the support resistance. This is the low point of the zone and the high point based on previous action. See this action over here? That action, along with this big price node, is what forms that box. All right? So I said we're probably going to drop down into that secondary box, and here we come. We're still headed that way as we see a fake out crossover bullish that went back bearish when the percent D crossed over the percent K, and the blue line, which is the fast line, has now touched the orange line, which is the slow line, and that is a bearish signal confirming, oh, look at that, right in front of our eyes. Look at the blue line. It just crossed over the orange one. That's a confirmation, folks. So that means that we're confirming downward momentum. So we're falling into the box just like we discussed that would be possible, just like we discussed on that last video. Okay, let's look at the one-day chart. This is going to be a very short video. I'm not going to run my yap for 20 minutes on this one. We're just going to review and tell you what I expect. So let's look at this evidence here, and we clearly see that after I bought right there, we took pause, and I said in that last video, if you go back and watch it, I said that the first point that we could get support is bouncing off of the 50 EMA of the one-day chart. Now, what does 50 EMA mean? It means that in the last 50 trading periods, and in this chart, a trading period, a candle, is 1 day's worth of action. So in 1 day, you have a candle forming where you have an opening price, you have a high price, and a closing price. And we have a wick that goes above the opening or low price. That's how a candle works. And then we have this line, and every point on this line is based on an average price of the previous 50 days. So if you go 50 days back, then every price point within this time period makes an average price for that day that we point on that line. So that's what we discussed in the last video, that we would probably stick to the 50. And then if it does not bounce back up into zone 1, which would have been nice, I could have took a little quick profit, that we would fall. And I talked about a slip zone because we have this fatter node right here, and then the volume per the individual price points, which is the VPVR, it drops off. See that? And usually when you come off of a big node, you tend to quickly slip down to the next biggest node or slip up. That's why I call this a slip zone. And now we see that we are gravitating towards this big volume node right here. And what do we see downstairs? We see still a very bearish situation where we have now entered into the oversold zone. Oops, I need an arrow there. We're in the oversold zone down below the, would you please give me an arrow? Dadgummit, I hate it when I click something and it still gives me the old thingy. All right, we're in the oversold zone below the 20 line. This is the 20 line. If you study stochastic, it tells you that we have two zones, overbought and oversold. When you're above the 80, you're in overbought territory. When you're below the 20, you're in oversold territory, which says that when the oscillators cross, it could be a pivot point. We already had the big crossover downstairs on the lagging oscillators with the MACD right there. That was a confirmation of a pivot. And then we still have a big difference between the %D and the %K. See how they're very wide and sloping downward still, and we're still printing solid red on the histogram. That needs to turn to light red, okay? Notice that when we went from solid green to light green, that coincides with a pivot. Look upstairs. What did we see? An all-time high right there. And then when we changed from the solid to the light, and then crossing the zero line, that confirmed this downward trending trading channel. Okay, that's a correction. So for those of you that I had mentioned this also in the last video, if you bought up here at the peak, then just hang in there and watch my videos, and I'll give you play-by-play to help give you hope so you don't feel too bad about the time that we're going to spend down here in this downward trending trading channel, which will soon reverse. It could reverse once we hit zone 2. And if it doesn't, we could get a 100% correction down here to this big volume node, and we'll have to draw in a new zone. But we'll wait and see what happens if zone 2 becomes a support. And if it is a support, that means that price comes down into the zone, and then it rockets out of that zone like this, okay? And it might go back to zone 1. And then go out from there, or it could go back to zone 1, which zone 1 could serve as a resistance, and then we could have the next leg down and possibly find the overall point of control, which is back down to the price around 2 cents where we started this whole party. So that's just a little bit of scribble scrabble to let you know what we can expect. And it's evidence to know that technical analysis does work. It's not that complicated. We're not drawing a bunch of complex lines and making things so convoluted that you just can't make sense of it. All right. We're looking at the simple things. What's happening on the moving averages? What's happening at the volume nodes? Where is the positioning of the oscillator pairs? Okay, that's all you need to know. When it's bouncing around up here and it keeps going back up, that's very bullish, and that represents this time period of moving up. When it falls off and doesn't bounce around, well, you got a bearish trading channel, which represents this move going down. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens from this point, and I will let you know what my moves are as I'm starting to share to give you a preview of what I'll be giving in the group, the paid group, helping to provide you with ideas and due diligence and basics like what I'm teaching you here of how you find the swing points in these swing channels. That's what you're going to get from me. And then last but not least, I'll probably be looking at the next DCA bag. If we get into this zone, I'll get a little bit, 500 to 1,000. I'm not going crazy. I'm not risking a lot because this is a meme. Meme coin investing is degenerate investing. We're looking to get rich off and not doing any work. And we're basically trading money from the pockets of others into our own. And we're just trying to stay ahead of the masses with the aid of technical analysis. That's all I've got for now. I do appreciate you being here, but most of all, I would absolutely love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And if you want to know when the next video is going to be, when I tell you I'm buying a bag, you need to click the notification bell. And then you'll be the first to know. I would click the bell if you're wanting to swing trade MYRO so you can get some ideas and know what I'm doing. Not to say that what I do is going to be right because I'm doing degenerate gambling. But it would benefit you if you turn on the bell with the other 18% of my subscribers that have the bell turned on. Okay, well, I'm going to send y'all off. This is Carlton, and I am out.